Well, congratulations, D&D. You've survived. At least for the time being, as Wizards of the Coast have beat a hasty retreat in the face of outright legal threats from Paizo and several other of the classic third-party and tabletop gaming producers, who seem to have created a bit of a de facto alliance to shut down the idea of the new open gaming license. Now, this was an announcement made a little while ago, saying that Paizo will essentially be willing to challenge any and all attempts to enforce the new open gaming license upon third-party producers. They're also claiming that the original license cannot be deauthorized and can therefore not be revoked, and they are stating quite clearly here that their legal team is ready to take any actions necessary. This is precisely what I was talking about previously. This is the action that needed to be taken and has now been taken. And I can guarantee you as well, Paizo and these other producers have been in contact with the Wizards of the Coast behind the scenes, making it again expressly clear that they will be taking them to court if they decide to violate their old agreement. Now, I have plentiful complaints about Paizo, but in this case at least, they are the champions of relative justice. But more interestingly than this announcement here is actually Wizards of the Coast response, which was released a little bit over an hour or so ago. This text here is so filled with historical revisionism and outright lies that it is difficult to comprehend. And you can tell here that the company has been caught elbow deep in the cookie jar, for they are trying everything in the book, every lie, every obfuscation, every virtue signalistic pleading to try and get out of the situation that they have buried themselves up till the neck in. And I say, do not fucking believe them. And we're going to go through it here to just point some of it out. When we initially conceived of revising the OGL, it was with three major goals in mind. First, we wanted the ability to prevent the use of D&D content from being included in hateful and discriminatory products. Liar! Because if that was what you needed, if that was what you truly wanted, a simple update to the original license would have been enough. Paizo wouldn't have objected. Nobody, the majority of people on the left would not have objected. They don't have any principles on censorship after all. In all due likelihood, you could have simply just flown that one right underneath the radar of anyone and everyone but people like myself who, you know, give a shit about freedom and stuff like that. And let me just point out as well here, Paizo, excuse me, apologies Paizo. It's a name, okay? It's a good name. It sticks on the tongue. Wizards of the Coast, there you go. If you are the ones trying to stop other people from enjoying something and using it to make things they like, you are the fascists in this equation, Wizards, not the people who are sitting there having fun playing Dungeons and Dragons. Second, we wanted to address those attempting to use D&D and Web3 blockchain games and NFTs by making clear the OGL content is limited to tabletop role-playing content. Another lie, because you didn't make that clear. You claimed all licensees. You claimed all additional revenue over $750,000 on everything. You declared that everyone needed to register. These things here are merely things that you were also hitting in your shotgun approach. And yet again, if this was actually your concern, you would simply write, we don't allow our product to be used in Web3, blockchain games, and NFTs. There you go. Again, another lie. And third, we wanted to ensure that the OGL is for the content creator, the homebrewer, the aspiring liar working for Dungeons and Dragons. Because again, this is not what you did. This is the classic case of somebody like the Robert Heinlein Starship Troopers thing, you know, where you've got a book that says one thing, and then you have a Dutch movie director that goes in, doesn't read it, declares it to be something else, and then still manages to not make the things he declares it to be. Where you're like, this is a fascist world, you see. Ah yes, the fascist world with 100% freedom of the press, and where citizens are allowed to choose whether or not they engage in the military. and they seem to have every single freedom afforded to them, beyond the franchise, that is, which must be earned and can be earned by anyone, regardless of any qualifying factors. In fact, it is the literal duty of the Federation to give you the opportunity to serve, regardless. Again, this is not what you did, and you claiming after the fact that you tried to do this does not make it reality. It just makes you a bigger liar. Driving these goals were two simple principles. Our job is to be good stewards of the game. No, your job is to be greedy, according to your OGL. And 2, the OGL exists for the benefit of the fans. Nothing about those principles has wavered for a second. Again, you didn't do it, you're a liar. That's why our early draft, it's a draft now you see, of the new OGL included the provisions they did. That draft language was provided to content creators and publishers so that feedback could be considered before anything was finalized. Lies! It was not provided, it was leaked. And before it was finalized, when it was leaked, you were going to release it the same day and ask everyone to apply and accept it within a week. You were not asking for feedback, you were holding a gun to people's heads. In addition to language allowing us to address discriminatory and hateful conduct. Oh god, we've been caught! Quick, hold up the shield of tolerance! Leftists, we virtue signal just like you. We're empty and hollow inside as well. Please protect us. Literally, that is all this is. It's like, we're against hatred too. Well, thank you for pointing that out. It's a tough call. I know. It's just a controversial position. And clarifying what types of products the OGL covers, our drafts included royalty language designed to apply to large corporations attempting to use the OGL content. It was never our intent to impact the vast majority of the community. Liars. Again, you claimed all licenses to be sub-licensable and for complete ownership. However, it is clear from the redaction that we rolled a 1. No, you did not roll a 1, Wizards of the Coast. This was not random chance. You didn't roll a dice to produce a legal document. You intended to do this. Like, one of the things that people need to understand is lawyers don't just pull random shit out of the air. They don't just like, wouldn't this be funny? No, this is a legally binding document. You did not try to do any of these things you claim because you didn't write them in your document. None of this was accidental. It wasn't a whoopsie. Like, you don't do of this and you're like, well, that's a weird document. Best send it out, I guess. Ridiculous. The next OGL will contain provisions that allow us to protect and cultivate the inclusive environments. Shield of tolerance, please protect us. I need to have a shield of tolerance made. We are trying to build specifically that it covers only content for TTRPGs. Now that is a very valuable distinction. That means that other expressions such as education, charitable campaign, live streams, and virtual tabletop users will remain unaffected by any OGL update. Content already released under 1.0A will also remain unaffected. Good, so that's a big key part there. It means that they basically backpedal and admit that, yeah, no, we're not allowed to deauthorize the old agreement. We've been caught with our penises in the fly trap on this one, and we can't get free of it. Now the problem is though, if they still maintain the licensing agreement and the rights and the need for the producers to report on anything and everything they're doing, that still means that virtual tabletops can't be used because you can't report on everything uploaded by anybody and everybody to your servers to be used in their private campaigns. So there's an all due likelihood the company itself doesn't even know. But making sure that these things are taken out of it, okay, there you go. Now again, we'll see how far it goes though. What it will not contain is any royalty structure. Good. It also will not include the license back provision that some people were afraid was a means for us to steal work. That thought never crossed our minds. Again. Lawyers, paid professionals, do not add in clauses to a contract they are not asked to add in. Again, it's not random chance that determines this. Somebody asked for this provision to be included in the contract. Lying pigs. And in the new OGL, you will own the content you create. We won't. Am I supposed to applaud? Like, we've elected to not steal your stuff. Thank you. Any language we put down will be crystal clear and unequivocal on that point. I'll believe it when I see it. The licensed back language was intended to protect us and our partners from creators who incorrectly allege that we steal their work simply because of coincidental similarities. You don't say. I have a sneaking suspicion there's a story here about Wizards of the Coast ripping off fan content creators, but details. As we continue to invest in the game we love and move forward partnership in film, television, and digital games, that risk is simply too great to ignore. No, it's not a risk, because here's the thing. What you are going to try to do is claim vague and nonsensical things, like 40k trying to claim pauldrons. That's what you're going to try, and you are going to fail, God willing. The new OGL will contain provisions to address that risk, but we will do it without a license back and without suggesting we have rights to the content you create. So they will probably still claim that they own your shit, they will just word it slightly differently. Your taste and imagination are what makes things special, and that belongs to you. Again, pointless drivel. A couple last thoughts. Firstly, we won't be able to release the new OGL today, because they got caught with their hands in the cookie jar and the original version was not a draft, as we know it wasn't, because we need to make sure we get it right, but it is coming. Second, you're going to hear people say that they won and we lost because making your voice heard forced us to change our plans. These people will only be half right. They won and so did we. The copium in the atmosphere is thick enough to carve with a steak knife. It's like, we didn't lose just because you didn't allow us to literally steal your stuff. We intended to lose all along. Jesus Christ. Our plan was always to solicit the input of the community before any update to the OGL. I'm almost getting sick of saying it, but liars. Dirty, filthy pig liars. In the draft version, now even I'm saying it, see the power of making such words. In the version that was leaked, it was supposed to be released on the day of the leak with a 1-week notice and demand that anyone who receives it sign it within 7 days. That is not soliciting input. Again, that is gun to head. It is not a request. It's not, hey, consider this. It's, hey. Just the draft you've seen, we're attempting to do just that. We want to always delight fans and create experiences together that everyone loves. We realized that we did not do this and that you never intended to. That this time, and we are sorry for that. Our goal was to get exactly the type of feedback on which provisions worked and which did not, which we ultimately got from you. Any changes this major could only have been done well if we're willing to take the feedback, no matter if it was how it was provided, so we are. We were yelled at. We tried to steal your stuff. We tried to take your money from you. We tried to take your livelihood from you. We tried to unilaterally destroy you. And now we've been called out on it. Boo. Fucking who? I hate these people. Like, I am on the periphery of Dungeons and Dragons, alright? And I didn't know. It's like, Wizards of the Coast is a bad company. Are they progressives? Yes. Well, I agree then. But no, these are actually just terrible human beings. These are dreadful people, and you should never trust them ever again on anything. If they tell you that the sky is blue, Google it. Thank you for caring enough to let us know what works and what doesn't. What you need and what scares you. Without knowing that, we can't... Without knowing that, again, it's like just... How could anyone possibly react poorly to our thievery? The new OGL match our principles. Finally, we'd appreciate the chance to make this right. We love D&D's devoted players and the creators who take them on so many incredible adventures. We won't let you down. Do not trust these people. Do not trust these people ever again. The new Open Gaming License will be 2.0 will probably be just as bad. It will just be worded in a more finicky way. They will still try to do the exact same things, so don't let them. In fact, better yet, this should be the death knell for Dungeons & Dragons. It genuinely should. Take every opportunity you can to distance yourself financially from them. If you are a subscriber of theirs to their online Dungeons & Dragons source thing, cancel that subscription. It is the easiest way to hurt their continuing revenue. And then simply continue playing the game as you have it in accordance to the rulebook that you already have, or move over to competitor systems. Now, again, to people watching my stuff, Paizo is just as a bunch of woke, nonsensical garbage heap owners as Dungeons & Dragons are. They are not any better when it comes to freedom of speech or personal liberties, but at least they aren't quite as predatory as Wizards of the Coast. And this genuinely could be a really bad thing for Wizards, which is why they are now weak and you should kick them whilst they are down, whenever, however, and whichever way you can. Because this has spurred on all of their competitors to say, Wizards of the Coast is lying down with its back broken, it is more unpopular than ever, and any alternative will be met with rave reviews simply because it isn't this. It's time to announce our own systems. And please do. If there is any justice in the world, this will do irreversible damage to Wizards of the Coast's property and to Dungeons & Dragons as a whole. God willing. Until next time, I've been Arch, thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon as I hiccup. Have a good day.